A warm welcome to Prague, and I mean literally a very warm welcome to Prague, maybe soon a very wet welcome to Prague. And Prague is our shared capital for dialogue on space security. I am delighted to speak at the traditional opening evening event of the 8th Prague Space Security Conference, and especially welcome those of you joining us again from Europe and from across the globe, from the United States, Japan, Korea, and beyond. In the previous years, this conference, as many of you know, was held every 2 years. But the pace of geopolitical transformation, both on Earth and in orbit, has changed. The threats evolve quickly, and the stakes have grown higher. And this is why, as I understand, starting this year, this conference will convene annually. Since 2011, this Prague conference has grown into a premier forum for dialogue. For me, as the Executive Director of the European Union Agency for the Space Programme, it's both a pleasure and an honor to speak to you in this year's exchange. Last year, we spoke of forging strategic partnerships in the global race. This year, we are called to something even more focused: space security economy and capabilities, from policies to action. This shift from dialogue to delivery is not incidental, is essential. Let me take a moment to recognize 4 key reports that shape today's European mindset: the Draghi, the Niisto, the Heitor, and the Letta report. Together, they tell a coherent story. Europe must become more competitive, more resilient, more innovative, and more united. Draghi reminded us that strategic autonomy begins with tech and industry scale. Niisto calls for a Europe that is safe together, a union ready to defend itself and its principles. Heitor urges us to realign research and innovation around sovereignty and security. And Letta envisions a much more than a market Europe, one where security, space, and industrial policy converge. These are not just words on paper. They are reference points for action, and that action is already underway. Indeed, the implementation of the EU Space Strategy for Security and Defence, a joint communication of the European Commission and the European External Action Service, is underway. Since last year's conference, Europe has accelerated its space agenda. Galileo, EGNOS, and Copernicus continue to deliver services that are key for our citizens, supporting our competitiveness and our security. The IRIS² secure satellite communication constellation is progressing, with initial assets and GovSatcom precursors already entering into service. In addition, the European Commission is also preparing the next multi-annual financial framework, where space and defense are expected to feature prominent as pillars of Europe's strategic autonomy and technological sovereignty. At the same time, ESA, our partner organization of the Commission and EUSPA, is currently preparing for its council at ministerial level later this year. These developments are not isolated. They are part of a deliberate European effort to move from policies to capabilities. Just this past Friday, on the 13th of June, I had the honor of welcoming our Commissioner Andrius Kubilius, to EUSPA headquarters here in Prague. During his visit, he shared a line that I believe perfectly captures the spirit of this year's conference. He said, and I quote, "We are looking how to bring readiness not only into space for defense, but also into defense of space, into defense of our space assets, which are facing more and more threats directly in the satellite environment." This dual imperative, space for defense and defense of space, runs through the entire program of this conference. In the next days, in the conference, we will discuss how to ensure satellite infrastructure can survive jamming, cyber attacks, and kinetic threats. We will examine how commercial and public actors can align on crisis resilience and space situational awareness. We will debate how industrial policies and public-private partnerships must adapt to geopolitical competition. Our space infrastructure is now part of our security and defense. It underpins civil aviation, emergency response, precision agriculture, and secure communications, among many others. But it also underpins deterrence, early warning, and autonomous decision-making in a fast-moving, conflicting environment. This is why this conference matters more than ever. We must move forward together with a shared agenda and interoperable action. Let us use these 2 days together here in Prague, not only to exchange ideas, but to shape trajectories. The future of space security will be decided by those who are ready to act, and ready to act together. I wish us all a productive, focused, and forward-looking conference. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.